Let's speak to our European and German football expert. Kevin Hatchard joins us. Kev, hello.
How are we, chaps? We well?
I bet he loves that so much.
How are we, chaps? We well?
Oh, and again.
No, that's the recording of him.
We well?
Yes, we're good. How are you, Kevin?
Yes, very well. Thank
Good.
you. Very
Oh, by the way,
excited.
we saw you. We
I'm
saw
right,
you.
confusing me. I don't know who was
We
that.
didn't know who to. We saw you on Sky Sports, I think it was yesterday.
Yeah.
On the couch, wearing quite a loud T-shirt. What was the T-shirt?
The T-shirt was one of my birthday presents, actually, from my dear lady wife. It was a Star Trek: The Next Generation.
Oh, okay.
Are you a
T-shirt.
Trekkie, are you?
I am with characters as tarot cards. So it was
okay.
I was delighted to give that a viewing. So
It's very rare you find a Star Wars and a Star Trek fan. Which is better in your opinion, Trev? Kev?
Trev, who's Trev?
Well, if you say Star
what
Trek,
have I told you about calling me other men's names?
If you
Right, more of a Star Wars fan.
Okay,
but
good.
I do like Star Trek.
Okay, well, listen, Trev. Let's talk about Jadon Sancho, shall we? We were talking about him in our meeting, actually, and producer Joe was just sort of going through how prolific he was when he was playing for Dortmund. 137... 50... Sorry, I'm going mad. 50 goals, 64 assists for Dortmund in 137 games. 48 games for Man United, 8 goals and 3 assists. 64 assists when he's playing for Dortmund, 3 for Man United. 50 goals for Dortmund, 8 for United. What do you think the biggest difference between the two clubs and his performances has been? Because the numbers are drastic. They're miles apart. Why is that?
They are miles apart. I think there's an element of variance in here. And what I mean by that is I was digging into the data. And if you look at his kind of dream season, if you like, was 2019-20. He got 17 goals and 16 assists in the league. Now, that was wildly above his expected totals, which were around about 9.3 and 9. So he's performed above what he was expected to do. In the games, and then he did the same the following season, but not quite to the same degree. Got 8 goals and 11 assists. His expected total 7.4 and 6.8. But I think what you have to bear in mind with that is he's performing above what maybe you could reasonably expect over a long period of time, but also he was the main man at that stage. He was the guy they always looked to. He was the guy that they knew could make something happen. And that hasn't happened at Manchester United. At no stage has he been the central figure through which you would play everything through. So I think, you've got guys now in the team like Bruno Fernandes, Christian Eriksen. They want to be those instigators. They want to get stuff started. The major thing I think that is a problem is his relationship with the fullbacks. Because if you look at his time at Dortmund, he had really good link-ups with Achraf Hakimi when they played together down the right. Thomas Meunier, when they played together down the right, and Rafael Guerreiro, who played together down the left. And they had a brilliant link-up down that left-hand side because Guerreiro, by nature, is a very intelligent attacking fullback. I think the closest thing they've got to somebody who could really combine well with Jadon Sancho is Luke Shaw. I think Shaw's movement is very good. I think he is a danger going forward. Malacia is different. Malacia is all energy. He's a good defender, he's a good tackler, but he's a bit ragged going forward and he's a bit predictable. That will come with time, but that's not going to help Sancho. It was really interesting. On that montage you played, Gabby Agbonlahor said, I haven't seen him take on a defender and go past him for ages. That was never really his game. What he would beat you with is combination play. He'd pop off little 1-2s. He'd play round players. And yeah, he could get out of tight spaces, but he's never been a player that would burn a fullback or do anything like that. He's got loads of tricks. You look at the goal he scores against Liverpool, chops the James Milner and pops it into the corner. In those areas, he's ever so cool. He's really, really good in those areas. But I just don't think United get him in the right areas at the moment. And they haven't got a fullback that can combine with him in the right way. I mean, Aaron Wan-Bissaka, that is not going to work. And, when he plays alongside him, when he did play alongside him earlier on, it's just never going to work because he's a defender. He's never been that great going forward. You need a really good, intelligent, attacking fullback.
Kevin, let me just pause our conversation just for a moment because, of course, Arsenal in action against Bodo Glimt. The last we heard, it was 0-0, 26 minutes on the clock. Arsenal scored a goal. Bentley, you saw it. Just describe it. I missed it, so what happened?
Yeah, really fortunate. Good play from Saka. Little 1-2 on the edge of the box with Sami Lokonga. Gets a bit fortunate with a finish. Goes to open up and bend it into the far corner. Deflects off the defender. Comes back and hits Saka in the chest and then bobbles past the goalkeeper. Tidy finish.
Okay, Saka just had another chance. What happened there?
His right foot.
Yeah, okay, that was awful, wasn't it? Right, let's move. Let's stay with Jadon Sancho, actually, Kev. So, listen, the way he plays football, it's interesting what you said there about Gabriel Agbonlon saying he hasn't seen him take on a man. That's not usually his game. Do you think, or when you're watching him play in Germany, did you think he had more to his game than those little 1-2s he was knocking about? And he was capable of beating a defender or two, getting to the byline, putting a cross in? Or did the way he plays, did you think that's just not his style?
He can beat a defender, but I think he's a very intelligent playmaker. And I always thought he was most dangerous when he moved into those kind of half spaces and those dangerous areas where if you've got a fullback that takes somebody away, then he's got a bit more room to operate. I just wonder at United now whether they're ever going to get to a stage where they try and put a lot of play through him. Because you've got guys who are proactive, like Bruno Fernandes wants to do it all in that area. And I just wonder if they're going to be treading on each other's toes a little bit. He's clearly lost confidence. And you look at all of his numbers, things like what they call shot-creating actions, they've gone way down. Dribbles have gone down. His shot totals have dropped as well. If you look at the last 2 seasons at Dortmund, he was having basically a couple of shots per 90. Last season for United, 1.23 per 90. Now it's less than a shot per 90. That says to me it's a player that isn't quite getting involved as much as he was, isn't being allowed to get involved as much as he was, but also he's got to take some responsibility. And I think he has done publicly. He said, look, I know I'm not playing as well as I can. And the confidence has dipped. I still think there's a terrific player in there. I really do. They've got to find a way of getting that out of him because he's a really smart footballer.
Kev, in your opinion, where's his best position? Because we've seen him operate from the left, we've seen him operate from the right.
Go on, son!
Where do you think is his best position?
I think because they're going to use Anthony a lot down the right-hand side, I think they've got to find a way of using him down the left. Now, Rashford, when they use him down the left, is a bit more explosive, bit quicker, very different player. But I think if you want somebody who can kind of dictate in that half space, who can bring a fullback into play, who can combine a lot down that left-hand side, I think Sancho's your man. So he's got to be allowed to drift in field as well and combine. And that's where I worry that somebody like Fernandes in that team, they're just going to end up trying to do each other's work in that area. So that's the challenge for Ten Hag. He's got to find a framework within that Sancho can operate in. And I think if he can do that, it's salvageable. There's still a terrific player there for their man England.
Eyebrows were raised when Man United paid the money they did. Do you still think it's value for money? Do you think from what you've seen so far there's a lot more to come? What's your view of Sancho at United and the fee that was paid?
I hope so, because I really like him. I think he's an entertainer. I think he's a thrilling, intelligent player. I think there was always an element of potential that they were buying as well, because he's done a hell of a lot in a relatively short career. And yeah, I think if they stick with it, if they work with him, if they tweak things tactically to get the best out of him, if they buy and, if they either work with Malacia or find a left back that can work better with him, there's definitely something there, but they've got to find a way of building up his confidence and in a way giving him more to do, because at the moment they're not getting him regularly in positions where he can either score goals or make goals.
Okay, by the way, I do apologise for me standing up and shouting, "Go on, my son." That was because Bodo Glimt were clean through. How they didn't even hit the top. Have you got the telly on when you're talking to us? Do you see it?
I haven't at the moment, but I can imagine that. I thought Bodo Glimt had a few decent moments last week, actually.
Well, they just had clean through one-on-one with the goalkeeper. Tried to chip him. I think he went into row G. It was appalling. Anyway, thanks always for coming on, Kevin. Real pleasure speaking to you.
Cheers, chap.
Cheers,
there you
Kev.
go, Kevin Hatchard, our German football expert. What do you make of Jadon Sancho in his time at Manchester United? Have you been disappointed?
Yeah, of course. I mean, the money they paid for him, and again, it's not his fault, the transfer fee.
It looks better, though, this season, doesn't he? Early days, but...
It does, yeah. But I just think at the time Manchester United spent the money on him, he wasn't what they needed, but it was almost like they chased him for so long that they had to go and get him. But listen, he's got an opportunity. He's still young.
He makes the first team better, though, doesn't he, with him in it?
Yeah, but
he scored important goals already.
When Martial's fit, does he play? Probably not. Martial down the middle, Rashford left, and Anthony right. So listen, but at the end of the day,
it's a good problem to have.
When he gets the opportunity, he has to take it.
talkSPORT Drive with Andy Goldstein. Monday to Friday afternoon from 4 on AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.